Welcome to this YouTube channel, Bhagwan Ki Baatein, where we talk only and only about God. In the ongoing series, Stories of Great Saints, we are discussing the story, or rather narrating the story, of Narsi Mehta, the great Bhakt. Let's see what happens after Lord Shiva takes him along to see Krishna's Ras. And so appeared in the visible form the supreme Brahm itself. As he sounded his flute, the eyes of gopis became fixed upon him, gazing on his form. Krishna sounded the flute very sweetly. The gopis danced all around him. They sang many songs to Govind, the attractor of the heart. Stringed instruments, the flute, the pipe, the cymbals, were attractive instruments that were placed in the songs were sung in accompaniment. The husband of Parvati, Lord Shiva, played on the drum and the gopis danced to it. The Lord of Vaikunt manifested his inner feelings by beating the time. The gopis said to Krishna, "You pervade everything. With our heart's desire fixed upon you, O Krishna, we have hastened here. We are many gopis, but you, O holder of Sharang bow, seem as one person. Seeing your form, Cupid became excited. We look at your face, O Krishna. We feel as though our lips wish to be kissed by your mouth, and placing heart to heart, give you an embrace." As the gopis said this, Hari took many forms, according to each one's fancy. The enemy of Mura Rakshas becomes. Krishna took as many forms as there were gopis. So was the Maharas. They took the life of the world by the hand and danced. Taking the dark complexioned one by the hand, gopis hung around his neck. As their eyes fell upon his Sagun form, they hastily gave him kisses. Krishna's form and a gopi took each other's hand, dancing in pairs. Such was the arrangement in the Ras dance in which they enjoyed Krishna. Krishna's body was extremely tender. His chest was broad. His waist was slim. Seeing the hair on his chest, the gopis became lovesick. Taking Krishna's hand, the gopis placed it upon their hearts. Again and again they kissed his face. From his mouth they took into their own mouths the tambul, pan supari chewed by him. Just as each one desires, the dark complexion one supplies. Krishna becomes rest to everyone. The blue-throated Lord Shiva repeated his name, arranging platform for dancing. He and the gopis sang and danced. At that moment, Krishna recognized Narsi Mehta. Just as amongst the 18 bhars, one bhar is about 8,000 tolas of herbs, Tulsi plant becomes specially recognizable. So with his eyes he recognized Narsi Mehta. Just as when the sky is filled with clusters of stars, one recognizes among them the polar star, the Dhruv Tara. So Krishna recognized Narsi Mehta. Or as amongst the 9 planets, one prominently discovers the sun. So seeing Narsi Mehta, Krishna was surprised. Just as among the assembly of great adepts and seekers of spiritual knowledge, the son of Anusuya is distinguished. So the holder of Sharang bow, Lord Krishna, recognized at sight Narsi Mehta. He who was the ornament of Brij said to Lord Shiva, "Who is this new gopi whom you brought here today? O blue-throated one, you have betrayed our friendship. For it is only because of the close love between you and me that I invite you to the dance." As one Mali, Lord Krishna said this. The moon-headed one, Lord Shiva, laughed. The husband of Parvati, Lord Shiva, by his movement of eyes made a sign to Narsi Mehta. He then came forward at once and worshipped the feet of Krishna. Lord Shiva said, "O Lord Krishna, I'll tell you in detail the ancient story regarding your servant Narsi Mehta. He was a great tear of evil disposition. While he was in the forest, Pipaji told him to repeat your name. As he repeated your name, all his sins departed. Thus, in the city of Junagadh, he was born as a Nagar Brahmin. In his childhood, his father and mother died. He then offered his whole body to me, O Lord Krishna. For 7 days he refused food and water. Being pleased, I became favorable to him. He then said to me, I do not know the best thing to ask of you. Whatever you are fond of, give it to me. O blue-throated Lord Shiva, O life of the world, I am fond of you. Therefore I have come here bringing him. So now place your hand upon his head, O husband of Kamala, Lord Krishna. Give him your blessings. As he heard this, the husband of Rukmini took Narsi Mehta by the hand, and his image of compassion gave him his assurance and embraced him with love. The holder of the disc, Lord Krishna, then said to him, You have seen Ras dance with your own eyes. Compose poetry on the subject, so cause everyone to bear it. My character in the voluntary acts you will always see. Such was the blessing of the cloud-dark Lord Krishna. Krishna now said to Lord Shiva, Depart, taking him with you. Hearing this, the husband of Uma, Lord Shiva, made his namaskar. Giving him his assurance, he brought him, and by the action of his wish, he seated him in his temple, and then he retired to Kailash. Staying in Shiva's temple, Narsi Mehta performed kirtans night and day. He lovingly repeated the names of God. He sang of the Leela and nectar deeds of Krishna in his love and danced. He threw aside all shame and sang of the character of Sri Hari, just as Sri Krishna had performed in his dancing game. So Narsi Mehta wrote of it in his books. Even today, people in that part of the country sing it. The language in which it was written was Gujarati. So in the preceding description, we found that Narsi Mehta had left his home and had gone sulking into the forest. His relations had seen him do this. Now in the forest there were cows feeding. Along with them were cow herds. They were always delighted to hear the kirtan of Narsi Mehta. Returning to his home, he told his brothers of the event that had occurred. They replied that Narsi Mehta was describing the qualities of Hari in the temple of Shiva. Hearing of this affair, they were well pleased, and persuading Narsi Mehta, brought him to their home. Some of the pious men in the town, experts in the Vedanta and scriptures, said, Narayan is delighted with him. So you can see this by the changed signs. The little streamlet that joins with the Ganges receives the qualities of holiness. So as the life of the world has shown him mercy, the mark of goodness has come to him. There was a Brahmin in the town who was a Vaishnava of supreme piety. He gave to Narsi Mehta his daughter and had the marriage performed. Just as when the touchstone touches iron, it immediately turns into gold. So when Narayan shows his compassion, what lack can be there of anyone? He never asked anything to anyone. A person and a pauper were alike to him. He regarded the poor and the rich as of equal rank. After becoming a householder, he became an adult. He had 2 issues, a daughter and a son. And we limit this capsule with these words, with the promise to come back to you with the next part of the story of the great Bhakt Narsi Mehta. Until then, goodbye, good luck, and Sadar Pranam.